everyone, my name is MJ and you are at my channel called Reading This Life. My channel focuses in on fiction, friends, and fun. I have built up a reputation for supporting small booktubers. I've been doing a series for over a year where I handpick 4 or 5 relatively new small booktubers and feature them to bring attention to their channels, to increase their subscriber count, to get the word out as to how awesome these individuals are. Out of that series, I started doing lives, and the lives have been remarkable. The participation is amazing. The questions that we receive, the answers that we get, it's almost like a group think. And from those lives, I decided to branch out and actually interview some of my booktuber friends. So the first one is in this episode, and that was with CriminOlly. And he was the first one that I asked, and he said yes. So we arranged a set of questions, and it went really, really well. And I think he provided a lot of information that may help out some newer booktubers. So what I've done is I have edited out those lives and just encapsulated the Q&A section. So it'll be the interaction between CriminOlly and myself, going through the questions and answer. So I hope that this is helpful for anyone out there that is either thinking of starting a channel, someone that has a channel and may be struggling, or someone that would like inside information as to how we do BookTube. So I hope you enjoy. I've got a special guest today. So we are here. This is the first edition of Support Small BookTube 2023. And I decided to try something new. So this year, I'm going to start interviewing fellow booktubers. And who better to be my first guest than one of our favorites, CriminOlly. So Ollie, thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning. Hello, everyone. It's so great to see everybody. So what we're going to do is first, I want to introduce myself. I see all my familiar friends, but if there's anyone new to this event, I do this every 2 weeks. And this is really to help booktubers get comfortable with their channels. We talk about tips and tricks. We brainstorm. It's a group collective. And sometimes we just hang out and drink coffee and have fun. So we do this every 2 weeks. Ollie is a huge supporter of Support Small BookTube. He pops in every once in a while, and it's just fantastic getting knowledge from all different sizes of channels. And it's not just channels. It's also subscribers and viewers that like to hang out too, or people that are thinking about starting up a channel. So once again, this happens every 2 weeks, and I hope to see everybody again. So it's so great seeing everyone. So Ollie's here, and he said I'm going to grill him, but I'm not going to grill him. We're just gonna have fun, and we're gonna talk BookTube. So what we're gonna do is we're going to do a pre-worked out Q&A, and then we're gonna open it up to everyone to ask questions until Ollie says, "I'm good, I'm done, I got stuff to do, I gotta get going." Okay. All right. So Ollie, tell us the history of your channel. How did it start? A lot of us already know, but some of us may not know.
Okay, so firstly, thank you very much, MJ, for inviting me to be on this. It's only the second collaborative, only the third live I've done, and only the second collaborative live. So great to be here. Okay, so background to the channel then, and I, as you say, I have said this on the channel before. So I started the channel to win a bet. So my son bet me in, I guess it was kind of August, September time of 2021, that if I started a channel, he would get to 100 subscribers before me. So he already had a channel that he'd started doing some stuff on, like streaming him playing a game called No Man's Sky. So I thought I'd give it a go. At that point, I'd never even really watched BookTube. There were a few channels I watched on YouTube, but not BookTube ones. So I thought I'd give it a go. I shared it with a few people I knew, like colleagues at work and friends and things like that, and got a few subscribers that way. And it gradually just built over time. And I think I was extremely fortunate early on to get some support and shout outs from some bigger, much bigger channels. So people like Juan at Plagued by Visions, Michael K. Vaughan, Steve Donahue, all gave me shout outs fairly early on, which I think got me a few more subscribers, but also just really boosted my confidence as well.
Right.
It let me know that I was doing the right thing. And the thing that was kind of, I guess, transformational about the experience for me was I'd been writing written reviews for years. So for years, I've either had my own blog or contributed to other blogs. And at one point, I was doing like three written reviews a week on my blog. And very quickly on BookTube, I was getting more engagement, more comments, more things like that than I'd ever got doing blogging, even when I was blogging on a site that got a reasonable amount of traffic. So it immediately felt like I'd found the right place for me to express, my opinions about stuff.
Right.
And it's just kind of continued since there. And then I guess the luck has continued too, in that a while ago, so towards the end of last year, one of my videos kind of got noticed by the algorithm, and got shared and promoted by the algorithm for a few weeks. And that massively grew my channel.
Okay.
Like massively. I think I was at about 3,000 subscribers before that happened, and I'm now at like 20 odd.
It was crazy, right?
Yeah.
It was
so strange.
And how the algorithm grips a channel, right, is that it has its own methodology, its own way of working things out, and it draws people to you. It's not pushing out your content, so it's finding like channels or like subscribers that are interested in similar content, and then boom, it was just like one of those zeitgeist effects where all the components just came in to work for you magically. All right, so after you won the bet with your son, what was the vision for your channel?
So really, it was to keep doing it, to keep talking about books because I just enjoy it, but also, to be honest, to try and grow it. So I never thought I would get to 100 subscribers, ever.
Yeah.
And the fact that I did, and the fact that I was starting to have, as I've said, like interactions with other channels that were a lot bigger, really gave me confidence. And the fact that I was, during those first couple of months, really discovering BookTube and discovering what BookTube was about, and discovering that there were other people out there like me talking about books, giving their opinions, and also that there were some fun channels out there that were really quite big. I realized that my channel could be bigger. Right. And I realized that I enjoyed it, and particularly enjoy the interaction with people in the comments, enjoy seeing the reactions of people to the books I'm talking about and things like that. And that made me just want more, to be honest with you. Yeah. So, growing it became central to what I was trying to do with the channel without changing me. Yeah, without changing the kind of stuff I was talking about and my kind of style and approach. So my style has changed a bit over time, but I think probably within the first couple of months, I'd arrived on kind of the basic format that I'm still using today.
Do you ever go back and watch your old videos?
No.
It's kind of fun though, when you go back and you're like, oh my gosh, I thought I was doing so great then, and then you're like, here, that was me then, this is me now, right? Yeah. I bet a lot of people in the comments can relate to just getting that struggle to get to 100 subscribers and then just making those small milestones. I bet a lot of people can relate to that. So what do you think were your biggest obstacles when you were first starting out your channel? What challenges did you have to overcome?
So I think initially just confidence. So as I've said on the channel, I did a video about this a while ago. I'm a 100% introvert. So the idea of talking to people was a strange thing. It was kind of a strange concept to me. And as I say, I did it to win a bet. I didn't expect anything to come of it. I expected to lose the bet. So having the confidence to do it and just to keep doing it was definitely a struggle at first. But the more engagement I got, the more my confidence grew.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, it was a virtuous circle. And then the other things, I suppose, really were like technical things, like lighting and sound in particular. Mm-hmm. So, as my channel has grown a bit and I've become monetized, I've been able to invest in a decent microphone and some lighting. But, some of my earlier videos, and indeed some of the videos that still do quite well for me, the sound is terrible on, mm-hmm. and the lighting's awful on. Yeah. And I think for me, I kind of feel like I have a minimum level of like technical proficiency that I want my videos to have. So regardless of what I'm saying, I want my videos to kind of look reasonably good. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very glad to have these bookshelves now.
Yeah.
For example, rather than the piles of books.
I miss the stacks.
So I think it just gives a better first impression if somebody clicks on the video if you're not knowing you. If they see that there's kind of a degree of professionalism, then I think that is helpful. But also, the most important thing about BookTube, I think, is that it is amateurs. That we are all just people who love books and mm-hmm. enjoy talking about them, and that's why it's so great, because you get so many different opinions.
Absolutely. Okay, so now that was Ollie when he was first starting out. So now that Ollie has blown up, what challenges do you face and what obstacles do you still have to overcome? I know one. Time.
Oh, we'll see if I know that one as well. So one is comments. So one is just keeping on top of the comments. So I think it's really important to acknowledge your viewers and to, I do it because I enjoy that interaction with people mm-hmm. about books. So I always try and reply to all of my comments. Mm-hmm. And that has got more and more and more difficult because, I do a video every day. I don't know how many comments I get per video, but probably 50 mm-hmm. on an average video. So replying to all of those comments is a thing in itself. Yeah. And I'm like woefully behind. I'm like a week behind at the moment, I think. So I need to get better I'm not better at it. I need to find a way to make the time to do it, because I do think it's really important to do that. Mm-hmm. And I think you get a more engaged audience if you do that and actually build a relationship with your viewers in the comments as well as through your videos. Yeah. So that's definitely something. The other one is just people being assholes, to be honest with you.
Are there more now?
So I see this. If one of my videos gets picked up by the algorithm, and obviously that one I've talked about did hugely, but I've had quite a few over the months that have in some way or another. And what you find when YouTube starts pushing your videos to people outside of BookTube, you start noticing that people can be real dicks in the comments. Mm-hmm. When it's just inside BookTube, usually all the comments are lovely. You might have a disagreement, you might have a difference of opinion mm-hmm. with someone in the comments, but it's always cordial and polite and things like that. But as soon as you get this sounds terrible, but as soon as you get like outsiders watching your videos, you do get funny comments. And there was one video of mine that was about a Stephen Seagal book, which was like a very, very right-wing book. And I was critical of the politics of it. So there was one video I did about that got picked up by the algorithm, and I got loads of like quite unpleasant comments from from people who didn't agree with my political views. Mm-hmm. But I've also had just like personal comments, like comments about my appearance and things like that, which is as someone like me who's like I'm a middle-aged white guy. I'm not used to people commenting on my appearance. My my appearance is kind of wrongly, but in our society, my appearance is kind of the norm. And so it was a strange experience for me to have people comment on my appearance, like on my hair and my teeth and things like that. Mm-hmm. That was very odd. And it made me understand how difficult social media and things like that can be for young people, mm-hmm. where that kind of thing is much more, common. So that was not difficult exactly, but certainly interesting for me. And I'll just, for me, I'll just let it wash over me. But so those are two things, and then I guess the other two things are the pressure to keep delivering content, because originally I set out to do like 1 or 2 videos a week, and I've ended up doing 7 videos a week. And at one point in the run up to Gold August last year, I was doing 8 videos a week, and I really like the kind of agenda, what's what I'm called, like the structure and the schedule that I've ended up with. It really works for me as a creator, because it means I know what I'm doing every day, and it seems to work for for my subscribers as well. But it's a lot, doing 7 videos a week, as you all know, MJ. It's a lot.
It's a lot more. It's a lot more when you have 20,000 subscribers too.
Yeah. but I don't want to. When I had like 50 subscribers, if I didn't put up a video, it was like, well, I haven't put up a video. Who's even going to notice? But now I feel like I owe my audience to keep producing content for them, and that's fine, because I enjoy. I love doing it. I really enjoy doing it. But it is, like yesterday I had to film. No, day before yesterday, I didn't have a video ready for that day. I'm normally ahead of myself. I didn't have a video ready because I hadn't been feeling very well the previous weekend. So I had to quickly film during my lunch break and film it, edit it, do the thumbnail and everything.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make sure I had something. So there's that, and then there's also, I guess, and this is probably something everyone faces, but the desire to continue to evolve my channel and try different things, but also maintain the style and the feel of the channel, and not get away from that, because people seem to like the way I do things and the kind of content I put out, so I want to keep providing that. But also I don't want it to get stale. For me as a creator, I don't want it to get stale. I want to keep on trying new things. So it's getting that balance right.
Yeah. And as channels evolve, you see, channels go through different phases. Some people will take a day off, some people won't, and it's just an ongoing formula that you kind of tinker with along the way. But know that the more videos you put up, the more comments you have to answer. All right. So what is some great advice that you received from other booktubers, that you gleaned from other channels? What has worked in your favor with making a successful channel?
So I guess 3 things. So one is a thing, and I can't remember who I first heard say this, but it's the thing that everyone says about BookTube, and probably YouTube in general, which is be yourself. And I think that's really important, because I never expected that by being myself, anyone would watch my videos, but they do. So it's worked for me. But also because I think if you're not yourself, if you try and be someone else in front of the camera, then it will get exhausting over time, and you won't enjoy it. You have to be honest about your opinions about things. You have to, not censor yourself. Clearly, you need to be considerate in the language you use and things like that. But you should be honest about your opinions, and you need to not sugarcoat who you are. Just be yourself, and the right people will find it. The audience of YouTube is so huge that whoever you are, there will be people out there who enjoy watching your content. So that's the first thing. And then the other thing, I guess, is, and I think I said this in a tag video the other day, there were 2 channels in particular who I really learned from in the early days. Actually, there were 3. There were 3 channels I really learned from in the early days. So the first one was Juan at Plate by Visions. So just his dedication to putting out, being willing to talk about all different sorts of books, and books that might be challenging and things like that. So not being afraid to talk about difficult books. And also the fact that he's very religious about replying to comments and acknowledging his audience. So that was one person. Another one was Michael K. Vaughan, in terms of being prepared to talk about books that might not seem like popular books, like older books and things like that. But also being kind of diligent about things, and having a very steady stream of content, and also having a structure to that content. So Michael, like I do, and I stole this idea from him, but he has set days when he does certain things, like Epic Comic Book Wednesdays, whatever. So I have a pretty rigid schedule, and I find that works. As I've said, it works for me as a creator because I know what I'm doing each day, and I think it works for the audience too. And then the final one was Kelsey at Slime & Slashers, who I just love Kelsey's channel. I love her approach to things and the way she presents herself and her enthusiasm, but also just like the professionalism of the structure of her videos. And that's definitely something I learned from and tried to emulate. So, having a bit of an intro where I say what I'm going to be talking about in the video. I think having a phrase that you use that people come to identify with your channel is really helpful as well, because it helps build a kind of brand for you in a way. So that, and then Kelsey's also got her lovely little clip of the videotape going in as well, so a little sort of like credit sequence almost. So I tried to do one of those as well. So just having that feel that as soon as someone clicks on your video, even if they're not looking at the screen, even if I've got the step one, actually, no, that doesn't make sense. Even if they couldn't see your face or hear you, they would know which channel it was. Yeah. So just having an identity to your videos.
Awesome. All right. So we do have a lot of younger channels here in the chat. So what type of advice would you give to someone just starting out, or someone that is struggling with their channel, or someone that is thinking about starting a channel?
So I think for me, I think that the first thing I'd say is you need to think about what you are doing, why you are doing the channel. What are you doing it for? Are you doing it just to make videos and talk about books and interact with a small number of people who are following you, or do you want to grow your channel? And if you do want to grow your channel, I think you need to understand how YouTube works and think about how you can position your videos in the right way that they are more likely to get a boost from the YouTube algorithm. And I also think about some of the things I've talked about in terms of like the look and feel of your channel and try to be consistent about that. I think there's kind of three things you need to do if you want your channel to grow and be really successful. So one is you need to get people to find your videos in the first place, because there are millions of videos on YouTube. So people need to find your content in the first place. Once they've started watching your content, or watching a video, they need to continue watching it. And then once they finish watching it, they need to want to come back for more. And I think there's things you can do for all of those. And I think, when you look at my content, I do, as I said, a certain, set videos on certain days. What I try and do at least once a week is do a video that I think has the potential to reach a broader audience than my subscriber base. So think about the kind of videos that are likely to be more discoverable in YouTube. So things like top 10s always do well.
Right.
Single book reviews tend not to do so well, but for the right book, they can do brilliantly. So my review of House of Leaves steadily gets
Don't get me started on that book.
It's steadily, if you look at the analytics for that, it's just diagonally going up line. It gets this very steady stream of viewers. So think about like discoverability. So I said top 10s are really good, and also like listing all the books you've talked about in a video in the description is a really good idea, because it will help with like search and things like that. So it will help people find your videos. And I get random comments on videos I made ages ago about a particular book I talked about in that video, where someone's obviously found it that way. Particularly for rarer books, if you're talking about a book that doesn't get talked about much, that can be really helpful. And then also think about how you position your video, so that if people see it, they want to click on it. So not everyone makes
Ollie, you're frozen on my side. I can't hear.
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, I lost you for a second.
Yeah. So think about, you don't have to necessarily make thumbnails, but think about the title for your video. If you do make a thumbnail, think about making that as impactful as possible. I think having a consistent theme to your look and feel to your thumbnails can be really helpful as well. So when people are scrolling through, if they know your channel already, they'll recognize that it's one of your videos quickly.
Right.
But don't be afraid to be a bit clickbaity. As long as your content delivers on the promise of the thumbnail, I think that's fine. And so thinking about my own experience, the video of mine that blew up was a review of a book which is not very well known at all, called Notice, by an author called Heather Lewis. It's not even in print anymore, not a very popular book. If I'd called that video Notice by Heather Lewis book review, which is what I'd called, I know, a lot of previous videos I've done, then I don't think it would have got anywhere near the number of views it got. I think it would have got 500 views. But what I called it was the most disturbing book I've ever read.
Right.
And it's had 400,000 views. So think about things like that. It's not a guarantee that your video is going to get a boost from the algorithm or anything like that, but it makes it more likely. And I think there's so many different factors. Nobody understands exactly how the algorithm works. But there are things you can do to make your videos more appealing to them. And just more appealing to general viewers who might be searching for something and might have a list of videos. They might click on yours rather than someone else's. So those things I think will all help. And then I think so that's making people click on your videos in the first place. In terms of making people continue watching your videos once they've clicked on them, I think telling people what your video is about at the start is really important. So that people know straight away what they're going to be getting from your video and why they should watch it. And then be concise. I think unless you're covering a really big subject, and there are some channels that do fantastic videos that are like an hour long where they really do a deep dive into a particular author or something like that. That's brilliant. But if you're just doing a single book review, for me, I think 10 minutes is probably more than enough. And I think if you're spending longer than that on a single book review, you're probably going on a bit, and people might switch off a bit if they're listening to you. And I tend to have think about, before you film, think about what the structure of your video is going to be. I've got this whiteboard, and before each video, I've got terrible handwriting, but before each video, I just make bullet point notes about what I'm going to talk about in that video, and just make sure there's kind of a natural flow to it. The other thing I think is really important, and I do get this comment a lot in the comments from people, is to not go into too much detail about what's in the book, but talk about why you liked the book. So don't spend 3 or 4 minutes describing the plot. I usually cover the plot of a book in about 2 sentences, because as soon as you go further than that, you start getting into spoiler territory. So I tend to just very succinctly say what I think the book's about, or what the book is about, and then talk about why I think it's a good book and what things about it I think will appeal to people. Because that's what people want from reviews. They can see what a book's about by looking on Amazon or whatever. What they want to know is why they should read it. So those are kind of some of the things I do. And then in terms of getting people to come back, and I've also talked about the kind of thinking about what you want your videos to look like and the structure of your videos, and don't be afraid to steal from other creators in terms of ideas about how you can do it. I've done it. I've said, very openly here, there are three people who really influenced how my channel has ended up. So I think there's no shame in doing that at all, as long as you are true to yourself. You're still being yourself. But think about, what can make your videos better, what can make them more appealing. Think about what you like watching in other people's videos. And then in terms of making people come back, just think about things like, engaging with the audience in the comments, making sure people feel like they've been heard. I know in my life on YouTube before BookTube, I used to comment on videos sometimes, and I don't remember ever having a response from a creator on any of them, apart from once. And that one time when I did, I was like, wow, he got, this guy got, and that was quite a big channel as well, a big watch channel. He replied, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And I think if you do that, people are more likely to come back, and they're more likely to comment again. And comments equal engagement,
right,
which the algorithm likes.
Right.
So think about how you can keep your audience wanting to come back, and just build a relationship with your audience as well. I think people come to BookTube for the books, but they stay for the creators. I think building a bit of a rapport with your audience, talking about, I mention regular subscribers sometimes in videos. I do I've done buddy reads with subscribers and things like that. And I make sure that, if someone has said something in the comments that I end up using in a video, I make sure I give them a credit for it. I mention them in the video. And I think all of that shows that you are aware of your audience, and it's not just you talking to your phone, it's you talking to your audience. And I think all of that helps people get to know you and want to come back. And also, I do, if I'm doing a review video, I focus on talking about the book. But in my weekly wrap-ups, I will usually do a couple of sentences about, I've had a good week at work, or we did this week, or what's this, it just gives people a bit of more of a flavour of you as a person. I think tag videos are really good for that as well.
Yeah.
And one other thing, actually, and then I'll shut up because I've been talking. is think about, we who are within BookTube are so used to like the terminology of BookTube that we don't even think about it. But there's so much jargon that we use. So do think about that, because I think it can be quite off-putting for people. And I've certainly fallen into that trap where I've talked about DNFing in a video, and then someone's gone, what's DNF? What's DNF mean in the comments? People just sometimes don't get it. So you only need to give it like a, just to give a tiny little sentence that explains it, and do it in a non-patronizing way. But I think people do appreciate that, and people who do know what it means aren't going to mind it.
Right. So you kind of led into my next question, which is talk about the community aspect of BookTube.
So I think for me, there's two communities. There's the creator community, and there's the broader community. And I think, the creator community is fantastic. And as I said, I got so much support early on from other channels, and it really encouraged me. And, my channel wouldn't exist if I hadn't had that support, because I would have given up. So I think it's really important that all of us keep supporting each other. And, the work you do on that, MJ, is absolutely fantastic. I know everyone, really appreciates it. So there's that creator side of things, and just checking in with each, if someone hasn't put up a video for a while, just checking in with them, and making people know that you recognize them as individuals as well as just as creators. So there's that side, but then there's also the subscriber side and the commenter side. And I think that's can be a more difficult one, because when you're limited to the comments, it can be difficult to have like a proper conversation and things like that. But I think, as I've said, I always try and reply to comments, and I do try and involve my subscribers in things as well where I can. So I've got a Discord, which at the moment is seems to be going really well. That's a great way to talk to your subscribers. But also things like giveaways. I've not done a giveaway for ages, but doing giveaways can be good. Fairly early on in my channel, I did, and I need to do it again because it was really fun. I did like a mystery game where people had to there was a mystery hidden in the video, and people had to solve it, and the person who solved it got a prize. So things like that are fun. But being aware of your try and be aware of who your subscribers are, and particularly who your regular commenters are, because I have people who come and comment again and again on my videos, and it's important to just try and keep up the conversation with them. And it may end up being a conversation across multiple comments in multiple videos. But I think that's really helpful as well. And then also the other thing, I think subscribers are kind of the unsung heroes of BookTube, because it wouldn't exist without them.
Yeah.
And it without the subscribers who don't have channels, it ends up just being a bit of a circle jerk, for want of a better, more polite term. So I think it's really important that we do look after our subscribers and keep engaging with them. Right. So, for example, one of the things I've done this week was around the birth year reading group, and openly opening that up to everyone to suggest books for, whereas previously the books had always just been from the books that the creators had mentioned when they did the original tag. So that kind of thing. And also the other thing I did, which is probably still my favorite thing I've done on the channel, was the intro video I did for Garb August, where I had loads of both creators but subscribers as well, who sent me videos of them saying happy Garb August, and that just made me so happy to actually see my subscribers and be able to to kind of engage with them in that way. It was really lovely.
Awesome. Are you going to do anything like that for Garb August 1.5?
Not for Garb August 1.5. That's going to be fairly low key. Okay. But Garb August 2, yes, definitely.
Lovely. All right. So the last thing I'm going to ask you, and then everybody in the chats, we're not ignoring you. Well, we are, but we're not. We're going to throw it over to you guys, and then we're going to start highlighting comments, and Ollie's going to answer some of your questions. Okay, until he feels like he's had enough. So what are you reading today, Ollie?
So I am reading. So I've just finished the 4th book in the Odd Thomas series, which I need to let you know, because I think you said to let you know.
I'm either on 5 or 6. Yeah, let me know. I'll get it from the library.
Yeah, so I finished the 4th one, and I'm about a bit over a third of the way through. I'm going to be finishing this today. Bomber by Len Dayton. Well, finish it not today, this weekend, which I'm doing a buddy read of with DDB, one of my subscribers, which is a really good novel about a bombing crew during the Second World War, and like the people they are bombing as well. So it's quite kind of even-handed, but really like a classic kind of military fiction novel, but one that my dad recommended to me years ago, and I've been meaning to read. So I'm really enjoying it.
Awesome. All right. So hello, everyone in the chats. What questions do you have for Ollie? Now is the time to post. I don't know if I'm going to scroll back, so just re-type it, re-post it. We'll highlight some comments. Let's see. Al's here. Al just finished Blake's Book of Urizen. Here we go. John says, Ollie, I feel like quitting BookTube because I don't get any subscribers but lose them. What's your advice?
So I lose subscribers every day. Every day I lose, when I look at the individual analytics for videos, I can see that I'm losing subscribers off those videos. So you are always going to lose subscribers. And you lose them, for a variety of reasons. So it could be the subscriber has disabled their YouTube account. It could be that it was a bot. It could be that they've watched a couple more of your videos and they've just decided you're not for them. So you will always lose subscribers. So the only way to combat that is to grow your subscriber base. So it's like that horrible business cliche about if you're a shark you have to keep swimming, or whatever it is. You have to keep on trying to grow your channel, because otherwise it will dwindle. I'm afraid that's the only advice I can give.
Yeah, don't give up, right?
But you're not alone, John. Everyone loses subscribers all the time, so don't be disappointed.
All right, so let's see. Gareth asks, I have a question for Ollie. Have you got any favorite tags that have been created by anyone?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if I've had a favorite tag. The one tag I really enjoyed doing, and I can't remember who created it. I don't think it was like one of us, if you like, but that was that in or out tag where it was like 26 things and you just had to do it really quickly. I thought that was a really fun one.
I did it in 4 minutes. That was a good one. All right, Michelle's here. Michelle says, Ollie, do you write notes while you read immediately after, or do you just have a great memory and remember all your talking points easily?
It's a bit of both, apart from the bit about having a great memory. So I do tend to make brief notes. I've got an app I use called Drafts, which is like a free app. There is a paid version of it, but it's a free app, and it syncs across like my phone, my iPad, my Mac. So it's really easy to keep track of things. And I just make very simple bullet point notes in that about particular things that I'm interested in. I'm not a like highlighter or like someone who uses like a rainbow array of different colored Post-its and things like that. I do highlight things in my Kindle sometimes if there's a particular like phrase I want to refer to, and if I'm reading a paper book and there's a thing like a bit of text I particularly want to remember and talk about, I'll literally just take a photo of it on my phone. So I've got it and I don't have to remember where it was. But generally I try and film my reviews fairly soon after finishing the books. The thing I'm terrible at, and you may or may not have noticed this in my reviews, I very rarely mention the names of characters when I'm talking about books, because I can never remember them. And I do often actually, sometimes I will like flip through a book again or look at the synopsis on Goodreads or something like that before I do my review, just to refresh my memory on it. But generally I remember, I may not remember all the details of a book when I come to talk about it, but I do remember what I felt about the book.
Right.
And I think that's what people want to know.
Yeah. Additional question. Do you use your scribe now to annotate more?
No. I do a little bit, but not a great deal.
All right, let's see. Big Al is here. Thanks for the nice words, Big Al. Big Al has a question. Ollie, as a bit of a genre expert, is there any creators you go to for genres you are less knowledgeable on?
So probably three that spring to mind. So one at Played by Visions for kind of challenging, transgressive type fiction. Michael K. Vaughan for kind of classic pulp type fiction, so kind of Weird Tales type stuff. And Sarah at the Bookish Knitter for category romance, which I'm starting to get into more.
Nice. Let's see. Jess has a specific book question. Ollie, have you read Last Song Before Night by Ilana C. Meyer?
I have not, Jess, I'm afraid. I haven't heard of that one.
Kat's Novel Adventure. What category do you have your channel set as, or does it matter? For example, mine is set to people and blogs. Mine is set to entertainment.
Mine's people and blogs.
Okay.
I really don't know if it matters.
I don't think so either. All right, John is back. What's your advice for choosing a book and just reading instead of searching for every single book or just wanting one that you don't have yet to read?
I probably don't have advice for that because I have terrible impulse control. And as you pointed out in a comment the other day, MJ, it wasn't that long ago, I bought a box of 40 NASCAR romances.
Without reading one.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm terrible at, and I always have been. I remember when I was like in my 20s, I'd read about 100 pages of a Harold Robbins book and immediately bought like another 20 of them, which I then didn't read. So yeah, I'm bad. I'm really bad.
Okay. Mark is here. Book Time with Elvis. Is there any topic or video you avoid making?
Well, until recently, things like this. So it was only Christmas Day I did my first live, and I was incredibly nervous about doing it. I'd held off on doing anything like that for ages. And it just felt like the right time. And I'm really glad I did it. I had a great time. So I would encourage people to, to try different things because they're never as bad as you think they're going to be. So yeah, so I did one on Christmas Day. I then participated in New Year's Evil on New Year's Eve, and now I'm doing this. I've done 3 in like 2 weeks. So that's definitely something I'd avoided. In terms of topics, I don't think there is really, other than, well, no, actually, I don't. I guess I don't. I wouldn't necessarily want to talk about books I don't particularly feel that knowledgeable about. So I tend to try and talk about books where I feel like I've got something to say. So I certainly don't review every book I read, because a lot of the books I read are like, I don't have anything to say about them. So I guess that's one thing I would say I avoid doing.
Okay. Let's see. Autumn is here. About consistency, are there videos you make at the same time every month or year, and how do you schedule those ahead of time?
So there aren't videos I make at the same time of the year necessarily, apart from the obvious things like like end of year wrap-ups. I do kind of have a bit of a schedule across the month, where on a Wednesday, I now on a Wednesday do a review, but it's a different type of review for different weeks of the month. Somewhere I've got a note of what those weeks of the month are, because I can never remember it. Excuse me. But yeah, so one Wednesday I'll do my like classic review for the month. One Wednesday I'll do a classic horror review, and one Wednesday I'll do, well, the other Wednesdays I'll do disturbing books reviews at the moment. But aside from that, there isn't really anything. It's more for me about the weekly structure, because I think I kind of think of YouTube as a, I don't want to say like a short-term thing, but do you know what I mean? It's an immediate thing. So I think what I care about is what I'm doing this week and what I'm doing next week. I don't really think about beyond that particularly. Okay.
Let's see. Michelle has another question. Do you ever feel not in the mood to film? Do you just power through or leave it for later?
If I've got time to leave it for later, I leave it for later. But if I haven't got a video done for that day, then I power through.
Yeah. Do you ever feel better? Like sometimes I'll film and I'll be like, God, I really don't want to film this. And then I'll finish it and I'll be like, I feel so much better.
I find it I don't know, like a therapeutic thing. Even if I'm feeling really crap, as soon as I turn on the camera and say, hello, I'm Ollie, and this is CriminOlly, I start feeling better.
Yeah.
And then the words just flow.
I get that. Anybody else get that? Let us know in the comments. Okay, let's see. Gareth asks, do you ever schedule in advance? It seems like you film as you go along.
I do, but not very far. So I usually have, so every other weekend is a weekend when it's easier for me to film. And every other Monday, and that's like the opposite Monday to the weekend, if that makes sense, is easier for me to film. So I tend to try and get ahead on those days. Right. But I'm rarely more than a few days in advance. Okay. And unless I know it's going to be really difficult for me to film. Right. Like, when we went on holiday in the summer, I pre-filmed a bunch of stuff so that holiday period was filled up.
Awesome. All right. So those are all the questions. I don't know if you still want to hang out, if you just want to chit chat BookTube. It's up to you. I don't want to over exhaust you, but thank you so much for making this happen, Ollie. It's been great.
It's been really nice to talk to you, MJ, and really fun. Thanks for the questions, everyone. And if anyone's got any other questions they want to ask, just email me or ping me on Discord or whatever. I will duck off now if that's okay, because my voice is going and I need a cup of tea. Okay,
let's just do one more, because Greg, our buddy Greg, is here. Have you ever made a video then decides not good enough not to release it?
Yes. So there's two actually. So I filmed a review for the cover of my Kindle Scribe about 2 weeks ago, and just didn't get around to it. There wasn't the right slot for it in the schedule, so I just ended up not putting it up. And subsequently, I found out that actually I was using the cover completely wrong. So, well, not completely wrong. I don't think you can use a cover completely wrong, but there was one particular feature I wasn't using correctly, so I need to refilm it now. And then the other one was I did a video a while ago. I think I filmed it a couple of months ago, probably, about thrillers. So about like domestic thrillers, like the kind of thing that like Girl on the Train and that kind of modern thriller. I did a video on that was supposed to be quite tongue-in-cheek and funny. So it was like 10 rules for writing a thriller.
Yeah.
but it was quite sarcastic in tone. And I decided, having filmed it, that A, it probably wasn't that funny, and B, actually, I'm not a fan of, like, pissing on books that people like. So I decided not to put that one up.
There you go. Good advice. Thanks for the question, Greg. All right, so I'm going to continue here with the folks to see if they have any other questions. I know a lot of people are probably going to drop off because you're saying goodbye. So I'm sure that I will be chatting up your videos and giving you little jabs in your comments like I always do. All right, and everyone, if you're not subscribed to Ollie, one last question. What do you call your subscribers? Do you call them criminals? Because I thought about that, and I think you should call criminals.
don't need a name for them. Like, what does Lady Gaga call her?
Monsters, little monsters.
Yeah, I've never thought of that.
I know. I thought about it when I was driving today. I'm like, what are Ollie's fans? I'm like, criminals. That's it. All right. But thanks so much, Ollie. I appreciate it. And make sure you subscribe to Ollie if you don't. If you don't, you're missing out on a ton of good stuff.
Cool. Thank you very much, MJ. Thanks a lot, everyone.
All right. See you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so that was the interview in a nutshell. That was taped back in the first weekend in January of 2023. So this series is ongoing but infrequent because I have to ask people to participate. So when I do them, I will be doing a live, and then what I'll be doing is editing down the live to the specific Q&A and keeping that in my video rotation. And I'm actually going to start a playlist of these interviews. So I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to take care of yourself so you can take care of others. And I will see you in my next video, whether that be sooner or later. So until next time, everyone, goodbye for now.